What are your guys' biggest fears you've ever had?
Gracie, you go first.
Wait, my biggest fear? Wait, what?
Like real fear. Don't say like cockroaches. Like legit.
Is that not a real fear?
Well, you know what I mean.
Hey Human. Watch Hey Human with me, Rainn Wilson.
I'm now live. I'm now live. This is amazing. My face, my voice is being broadcast to the world. 3 followers, 6 followers, 15 people watching, 19 people watching, 72 people watching, 97 people watching. My mind is exploding. 114. Dear God, this is incredible. I should have put on some makeup. I look horrific. I look like a boomer. 146 people. How many people until we really get this thing going? Welcome to Hey Human, everybody. Hey Human. Nice to see you, Human. Miss Cole, Dupe Dewson, Ferdoz, Baha, Maple K12, Talia Del Jew, Invisible _Potato, Your Wayward Child. Hello, all of you. I am talking to all of you. Rainn Hoffman, guys, stay inside and stay safe. Exactly, Rainn Hoffman. Thank you very much for calling that out. I'm staying inside. I'm staying safe. I actually found in my garage, I was just looking through it. We had an emergency box, and I have a mask, an N95 mask. And I felt like, I was like, yes! I can survive the zombie apocalypse. This is amazing. Diego.jpg asked me if I want some pupusas. I do want pupusas. I love pupusas, the national food of El Salvador, for those who don't know. But I don't know that I want pupusas from a stranger during this national quarantine. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not saying that you're going to spit on the pupusas that you make me, but I'm sure they're delicious and cleanly and filled with cleanliness and spotless. But I'm just going to pass for now. I'm going to kind of stick with more like cans of soup and tuna and whatnot, you know. So every day at noon, folks, I'm going to do this Hey Human show on the Soul Pancake Instagram. And we're up to 200 viewers. Hoping to get these numbers up a little bit. If you could tell your friends about Hey Human, which is me essentially pontificating for a short amount of time and then interviewing a random human being from the world about life's biggest questions, about their hopes, dreams, fears, about surviving the quarantine and these difficult, dark, and dangerous times. That's what the show is all about. Hey Human, you are a human. Yazzie Soup says, hey Rainn. Hey Yazzie Soup. How did you get that handle? Yazzie Soup managed to snag that Instagram handle early on, probably an early follower of the gram. Is anyone I know out there? So soon I'm going to interview someone in another like 5 minutes or so. I'm going to interview. Keep those hearts coming. Poke those hearts. Let me see the flood of hearts, of likes coming up. What else can I do? I want to talk a little bit today, folks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, about fear. I've been thinking a lot about fear as a concept. When have you been the most afraid? I would love to hear from you here on the text chain, on your posts. When have you been the most afraid in your life? I've had several times, but recently I took this trip to Greenland to do this little piece and a little journey discovering and exploring climate change, going to see it at its root, the melting glaciers in Greenland. And we took a helicopter ride, and I tell you, I can't remember being more afraid. I'm sure I've been more legit afraid. I've been attacked and chased on the streets of New York by like a gang. I've had some terrifying things happen to me before. I've almost drowned off the coast of Mexico while drunk at 2 a.m. swimming in shark-infested waters with a pounding surf. I'm not trying to brag. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm so cool or anything. This just was a reality. It's a thing that happened to me. I've had some very, very scary things. But being in this helicopter was very afraid for me. I don't get scared flying in planes, but there's something about being like cooped up. And then just the thought, like, if that propeller stops moving, the helicopter is like a giant soda machine. And it could just fall from the sky. Like if the motors go out on a plane, it's got wings, so it can glide. It can glide safely down to the ground. It can find a freeway or a farm or something like that and land. But a helicopter, if the propellers stop, there's just one way to go, and that's straight down. So I was in a lot of fear. I really tried to control my breathing during the fear. Someone had told me once an exercise where if you're really overwhelmed by fears, and thank you everyone, you're sending in your fears down here below. I see them going up on the screen, and I really appreciate them. I'm not totally able to address them right this second, but I tried to control my breathing. Someone once told me, like, if you breathe in, like on 5. In fact, let's all try this breathing exercise. Okay, let's try this together, everyone. And everyone's all excited on your thing, but let's just set your phone down for a second. Let's just try a little breathing exercise. Again, a coping mechanism to help us deal with fear, to help us get through these difficult times. A really slow breath in for 5, hold the breath for 5, and a slow breath out for 5. So let's try that. Ready? Here we go. Slow in for 5. Hold for 5. Slow out for 5. Let's try it again. In for 5. Hold for 5. Out for 5. One last time. Everyone with me? Try it again. If you haven't tried it now, no one's watching you. It's okay. It's not embarrassing at all. I'm doing it in front of 233 people. Let's get those breaths going. Here we go. Slow breath in. Hold for 5. Out for 5. So, as a matter of fact, it was Hart Hansen, the great writer, TV writer, thriller writer, detective writer, who did the show Bones, and I had done the show Backstrom with. He was the one who told me about this. Don't you feel like already, even like anxiety, like going down, more grounded just from doing that? So I was in this fucking helicopter doing this breathing. No one else knew. I was just like, oh, fuck, I'm going to die. And I just, I barely held on. I was afraid I was going to have some kind of nervous breakdown. Anyway, the thing that taught me about fear is that a lot of fear is fear of lack of control. Like, I'm not able to control the circumstances of this helicopter. And so I'm afraid I'm going to die and then I'm going to drop to the ground. And that's an interesting thing when we think about this. I'm thinking about the people who did panic buying, which is a new word, a new jargon for our lexicon, panic buying of toilet paper. And you see pictures of like people in parking lots with their toilet paper heaped up on their shopping carts and afraid. And listen, I don't want to make fun of anybody, but somehow we have to get over this kind of panic buying thing. Fear apparently lives in the amygdala. It's at the very base of the brain. It's an animal response to the world. When we have fear, it needs to be acknowledged and it needs to be respected. a lot of times people, like with the toilet paper thing, it's a response to deprivation. And there's a fear response to deprivation. I've done a lot of work in Haiti with my wife over the last 10 years. And there's a lot of people, generation after generation, growing up with not enough stuff, especially food. So you see these pictures in famines where they're like handing out stuff to crowds in places where there's famine and poverty. And then there's like a riot. And you kind of look at it and you're like, well, why can't they just be reasonable, decent people and just one at a time line up and not go crazy? Because there's an amygdala animal fear response happening out of deprivation, that some of these people have been poor and hungry, and really hungry. I'm not talking about hungry like Americans get hungry, like, oh gosh, I haven't had a snack in 5 hours. I'm starving. It's like, no, it's like not eating for days and not knowing where your next meal is coming from. And that creates a huge fear response. So this is the same response that's happening in people panic buying toilet paper. I'm going to run out. I'm not going to have enough. They might have had stuff happen. I had that happen to me a little bit. My wife was at the grocery store. She was FaceTiming me. She was like, oh my God, the shelves are empty. All that's here are these bags of beans and some jars of pasta sauce. And so I was like, buy them. Buy the beans. I mean, we don't cook beans. We don't cook very much or very well. I haven't cooked beans in years and years. I love beans. I haven't cooked them. I don't know how to cook them very well. And I was like, buy the beans. So she bought all these bags of beans. And some of them are just ridiculous beans. I have no idea how to cook these beans. Adzuki beans and Japanese soybeans and navy beans and like white beans, like weird beans. Weird beans I didn't even know existed that I'm going to have to figure out how to cook. And there was in myself, there was this kind of like panic response about like, oh no, we're going to starve. I need beans on the shelf. And of course, that's not going to happen. So, but I'm thinking about this fear response. And I think if I can offer some unsolicited advice, it would be that when we go to fear, we breathe. First thing you can do is breathe. Acknowledge the fear, respect the fear, understand where the fear is coming from. It's coming from a place deep inside your brain. It's also coming from a place of wanting to control outcomes that we just can't control. And that is, these things need to be respected. That's what fear is, that we can breathe this fear and that we can redirect our brains. You know, when I was a kid growing up, they said, well, your brain is wired by the time you're a teenager, and it's basically set for life. I mean, we were literally taught this in science class. And now there's neuronetworking, neuroplasticity, we call it, neuroplasticity, where you can change the way how your brains work and how they're wired. So you can change your thought patterns. So if we live in fear a lot, you can actually, in fear and anxiety, you can, through various measures, you can rewire how you see the world and change subtly, slowly, over weeks, over months, maybe even years, how you see the world from less of a fearful place and more of a welcoming place. So there are a lot of positive psychology exercises for this. We'll be getting into some more later. On our first episode, I talked about gratitude for the fact that this plague that's affecting humanity hopefully will bring humanity together as a species on a planet. And the second episode, we talked about gratitude as an exercise for making one's life better and changing one's outlook. And this is one of the ways to rewire our brain, going from fear to gratitude. So again, you can rewatch. I don't know where these episodes are. I'm going to repost these episodes on my Facebook. So the first one I know is on my Facebook. So you can go to my Facebook, Rainn Wilson. I don't know what Facebook. I don't know from Facebook. I'm not very good at this. But you can watch the first episode. And so we can redirect it from fear to gratitude. And gratitude exercises, simply having a gratitude text chain, writing about gratitude, journaling in the morning, journaling in the evening. It might sound hippy-dippy, namby-pamby, but it actually has very positive, scientifically backed effects upon the brain. So that's what I wanted to talk about with fear. There was one last thing I wanted to say about fear, which was they did a study I read about that with orphans. Even orphans that grew up like in an orphanage, and then they become wealthy in later life, they will hoard stuff. Like they found that they did a study of this woman. She would take cookies, put them in her pocket, and hide them under her mattress and under her pillow. Even though she had like millions of dollars, she would stuff cookies under her pillow and her mattress. Like fear of deprivation is a very real thing, and it can become very deeply ingrained. So we need to respect it and understand, too, ultimately at the end of the day, we just can't control outcomes. You know, there's that famous serenity prayer that they say in the 12-step groups, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. So there's all these things we can't change. We just don't have control over. We have to surrender to God, to the universe, to the energy of life. The courage to change the things I can. So what can I change? You know, I can make a gratitude list. I can create a daily schedule. I can make sure to put some focus away from my screen and onto some hobby. Away from my screen, he says, as he's doing a show on a screen. And the wisdom to know the difference. So the wisdom to know what's in our control and what's not. And I was not able to fully surrender that experience when I was on that helicopter. But I wish someday that I'll have the wisdom to surrender the fact that, hey, if this helicopter goes down, I'm going down. That's just how it is. I can't control it. Let that fear go. Oh, I had a little throat bubble. I hope you heard that. Anyway, so what I'd like to ask you to do is to request to share the screen, request to join the conversation. I'm going to choose a random human. Hey, human. I'm going to choose you random. It could be Peaches and Apricots. It could be There Were Konas. It could be Cooper_Wilson. Caden. It could be Ryan Hoffman. It could be Bumblebee_23. It could be Allison.Blackink. All kinds of people. So we're up to 75 people asking to be. Baby Doll 56 has the Serenity Prayer tattooed on her. Good. Make sure to post that. I don't know. It depends on where it is on you. Hopefully it's on a PG location of your skin. Okay, let's see. Go live with, here's all the people. And I'm going to try to really not look at faces and be like, oh, this is a face. I'm not going to be superficial. I just want to go really random here. I'm just scrolling up and down with my finger. There's 70-some people here. Here we go. Here we go. And we're going with Jordan Wilson. Hey, Jordan Wilson. How's it going?
Hi, how's it going?
Good. Congratulations. You've been selected. Turn your volume down.
Hey, turn your volume down there, Jordan.
Sorry.
There's a weird
delay.
You guys
hearing that?
Are you hearing that?
I'm not hearing it.
Okay. I'm talking and then I'm hearing my voice coming back.
Okay, wait. Maybe I'll put headphones in. We'll see.
There we go.
That'll be nice.
Jordan, you look like you're 11. How old are you?
I'm 17.
All right, good. Still hearing it. You got the headphones in?
Yeah, I'm getting that.
Yeah.
Other people can hear it too. So there's a delay, weird delay thing.
Is that better?
Testing. That's
Testing.
better.
Testing? Good?
Got it.
All right.
Okay, everything is good now.
Sweet.
All right. So, Jordan Wilson, we have the same last name. Congratulations.
Yes.
Do you know the origin of your last name, Wilson?
I don't. No.
No?
Nope.
So mine is, you need to find that out.
Yeah, I should
Don't be
probably.
a loser. Mine is actually Norwegian, and it came from the word Velesen, which means wild sun. And then when they got to America, I don't think it was Ellis Island, but when they immigrated, they changed it to Wilson instead of Velesen. So it's not Wilson. Most Wilsons are from England. Mine are from Norway.
So
I believe mine is from nowhere too. I did a DNA test, and
Nice.
majority of my origins are from Norway.
Oh, really?
And
Okay. Well,
yeah,
maybe we're related.
maybe
It could
that would be
be.
kind of cool.
It could be. Well, where do you hail from?
I am currently on the border of California and Nevada in
Ooh,
Lake Tahoe. Yeah,
Lake Tahoe,
yeah,
beautiful. Now,
yeah.
are you guys holed up there in Lake Tahoe, and you live like in the Bay Area, and you went up to a vacation home or something like that?
Actually, it's kind of funny story what's going on right now. I live in Portland, Oregon,
Okay.
and we took a road trip earlier this week.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of quarantining almost here, but like isolating on like a hiking trip almost. So it's
Okay.
getting out, but staying away, you know?
Right. Now, did your parents do this kind of like out of fear? Like we were talking about fear
Yeah.
today. Was your parents and family like afraid, like, oh, shoot, we're in this urban area. It's way easier for us to get
Hmm.
infected. Let's kind of head out to nature a little
Yeah,
bit.
a little bit,
Pack
yeah.
up the car.
Yep.
Did you pack up? How many people in the family?
I took, so I have my girlfriend with me,
Okay.
and I'm with her family. So I
Oh,
have her mom, her sister, and my girlfriend and me. So just us four.
okay. What about your family? You just abandoned your
Yeah, I
family?
just abandoned my family. They
They're
were
back in
okay.
They're back in Portland.
They're back in Portland, yeah.
They're like, yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, just, yeah, get out of here. I'm not
He'll
okay. I
die
don't
up in the
care.
mountains,
Yeah.
whatever.
Exactly.
Um, and is your girlfriend there?
Yeah, my girlfriend is here.
Can I say hi?
Yes, you can.
Hi,
Hi, what's your name?
Gracie.
Hi, Gracie. Nice to
Hi.
meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Well, hey, human. Can you
Hey.
say it back to me?
Hey, human.
Hey.
Hey.
Because this is, listen, these devices that we have, Gracie and Jordan, often are very isolating, right? I do it too. I look at my phone all the time. I even took like YouTube off my phone so I wouldn't like spend hours looking at it. But then I just read the news for hours. So these devices can really separate us. But now we're finding in this time of great trying times of anxiety and quarantine that we they're the devices that connect us, and we kind of need them to stay connected. So I look at all of these things as having a good side and a bad side. Like the internet has done horrible, horrible things in the world, and the internet has done wonderful, wonderful things in the world as well. So I don't know what the point of this monologue was, but I just wanted to say that Hey Human is a show about connecting, about making sure that we're staying connected, and talking about real topics, uplifting topics. And today we were talking about fear. What are your guys' biggest fears you've ever had?
Gracie, you go first.
Wait, my biggest fear? Wait, what?
Like real fear. Don't say like cockroaches. Like legit.
Is that not a real fear?
Well, you know what I mean. Like legit
Yeah.
fear. Most afraid you've ever been. What's the most
Okay.
afraid you've ever been?
Most afraid? Let's see. I'm scared of being stalked or like being trapped in an elevator. Probably.
What if you were stalked in a stuck elevator?
That'd be really scary because
That'd
like
be horrible.
that'd be horrible.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
crazy.
Do you have any tools that you use to deal with fears that sometimes you're going through?
I mean, I don't have any fears at this moment because none of my fears I've never overcame any of them.
When you
It's
have,
never happened.
if you have a lot of anxiety coming up, do you have any tools to deal with kind of anxiety?
Anxiety. I mean, I listen to a lot of music. I feel like music helps me calm down and stuff. And
Yeah.
I love like creating and listening to music, and so does Jordan. I like talking about my feelings to other people. So I guess when I have anxiety, letting it all out kind of helps.
That's amazing that you have that ability to really talk about your feelings when you're feeling anxious. A lot of people don't have that skill. How did you gain that? Is that just something you had in your family?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just kind of a thing that came with me, like overcoming a lot of big obstacles. I just learned to let out my feelings because if you hold it all in and then you let it all out at once, it's a lot worse than like trying to be open.
How is Jordan at sharing his feelings?
Um,
He's pretty open. If he doesn't like something, I mean, he'll tell you.
Yeah, but that's not liking something is easy to express.
I
Like,
guess.
I hate this pizza. It sucks. Hawaiian pizza
He's good at
sucks.
sharing. He's good at sharing his feelings. He's good at it.
That's good, and he'll share his vulnerabilities as well.
Yes.
yeah, I like to express a lot of my opinions on, even if people disagree. I'm usually one to
Yeah,
kind
but
of.
opinions are different than like vulnerable feelings. To say like, "Hey, Gracie, I'm feeling sad today," or "I'm feeling like a loser today," or I'm afraid my life
Usual
won't amount
case.
to anything," or something like that.
Yeah, I would say I'm definitely. Me and Gracie, we have a really close relationship.
Gross.
Not gross, close relationship.
Yeah.
So if she can tell that I'm not having like my best day, she'll ask me like, "Hey, what's wrong?" or something like that. I hear that at least 5 times a day, even if there's nothing wrong. Like she
Okay.
just wants to be on top of how I'm feeling and what's going on and like in my head, and I don't know.
That's wonderful. You're able to develop that intimacy at that age. Because when I was 17 and I had a girlfriend, first of all, my parents would never have allowed me to go on like
Oh, yeah,
extended road trips.
it's a
It was all I could do to like go out to see a movie.
yeah, it's an
Yeah.
experience.
I would just sit around like, "Hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Want to make out? Want to get some pizza? Want to watch a movie?" Like that was it. That's all I could manage. So this intimacy that you have, an ability to share and talk about your feelings is really cool.
Yeah, I mean-
Any tips for the viewers on how to kind of cultivate that?
Well, I mean, we were like what you just said. We were kind of like that at first because we started. We met each other in like 8th grade, going into freshman year, and now we're juniors. And we were like friends at first, and then we started dating, and then we kind of like let it off, and then now we've been dating for like a year and a half, and just like getting to know your partner is very, very important, and getting to know like their needs in a relationship and not just yours. Like each person needs their own needs and has their own values and stuff like that. So it's important to know like what your partner needs and like what you need to both have like a successful relationship.
You guys are so fucking mature. Jeez. Louise, you guys need to be like marriage counselors or something. What are you guys
That'd be fun.
studying? What are you guys studying?
Studying? I don't really want to go to college. I feel like, I mean, if that's what we're talking about, studying to go to college.
I don't know.
I feel like college is just a waste of money because I feel like if I could go to a trade school for no money, I could like save so much money and have like no debt and make like the same as somebody would if they were to go to college. But like, I don't know. I guess I'm
Trade
leaning-
schools are cool.
Yeah.
Hey man, there's so many of these job skills you absolutely can make. If the goal of learning is to make money, then you're absolutely right. You can
Yeah.
become literally like the guys that do like computers and cars. I mean, there's all kinds of trades you can learn
Yeah, definitely.
and make a really nice living. And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I think there's something valuable to college as well. It's not
Yeah, definitely.
where you're just reading books and learning and studying and with like-minded people that can be very kind of uplifting and challenging in other ways. But you're right. Do you want
Yeah.
to do that and come out with $150,000 in debt? Maybe not. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure what I want to do, but I mean,
What do you think she should do, Jordan? What's her
Honestly,
best skills? What are her skills?
her best skill. He's a really good singer. She can
Really?
sing.
Oh,
yes.
No.
Yeah, actually
Will you
so
sing right
good.
now, Gracie?
Yeah,
No.
sing right now, Gracie.
No.
Do it.
I'm not singing.
I had this idea to where we are actually producing an album now because I thought she's such a good singer.
Yeah.
So we are in the process of getting it started and everything.
Great.
Yeah, but
And
I
how can people find you online?
Oh, we have a YouTube channel.
What is it?
Jordan and Gracie. It's the and symbol. Jordan and Gracie. Yeah, we've been doing
I'm
that.
gonna type this in. Jordan
Okay.
and Gracie. It says it wants to autocorrect to Jordanian and Gracie. Jordan and Gracie. Okay, great. Clean Juice Lincoln says, "Sing, Gracie."
You got to.
I don't know. I don't know what to sing.
All right, I'm not going to put you on the spot too much. Yeah. But and Jordan, you like music too? Do you like to produce music and make music?
I think it's a lot of fun. I just started. I have no experience with it, but getting into it, it's a lot of fun.
And what about your fears? What are your greatest fears?
I think my greatest fear is being alone or like isolated almost, because I'm like claustrophobic a little bit. So maybe like in this time of like quarantine and stuff, maybe getting out with like on a hike or something is probably the best thing for me to do to like cope with it, you know?
Right. So do you have a tendency to isolate sometimes? Or you're afraid of isolating?
I'm afraid of isolating, yeah.
Right. Okay, good. Well, yeah, taking a hike is good. I mean, for you want to keep a safe distance from people, you know. But that sounds great, and hopefully you guys will get some great hikes up there in Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say to the whopping 200 people who are watching this show right now?
Wash your hands.
Yeah, wash your hands.
Stay safe.
Wash your hands.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing. A few years ago, I was on Soul Pancake with Reverse Assumptions. You know?
Great.
Yeah. So this is a weird coincidence that I get come back to Soul Pancake and
that's great.
Interact with you.
Welcome back
to
Soul Pancake. And Jordan and Gracie, it's been a real pleasure. You guys stay safe. Good luck on
Thank you.
On this plague-induced quarantine road trip thingy, boyfriend-girlfriend thingy that you guys do. It's a little bit Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, a little bit.
But are you in like an Airbnb or something like that?
No, we're actually in like, it's kind of weird. It's like a hotel, but it's like a small apartment. Like you walk in and
it's
there's
got like a kitchen. You can go buy groceries and stuff.
Yeah, but it's considered a hotel, so I'm not sure.
All right. Well, good luck with that. Hey, human. Thanks for tuning in. Tell your friends.
Thank you. Thank you for talking with us.
Thank you.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to hang up with them, but not hang up with the show. Goodbye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Wow. Okay, that was super fun. So, Jordan and Gracie, what an awesome young couple. They were so mature, sharing their vulnerabilities and fears with someone. And I think this is really important to do. It's really sometimes the hardest thing in the world to do. I know it was for me when I was a teenager and in my early 20s, especially. Like I just felt so much shame about my feelings and was really afraid to open up to people. I remember always thinking, well, no one cares about how I feel about something. So I don't really know what the solution is, but I do know that a great way to overcome anxiety and fear is to just talk about them and to give words to them and to have empathy. You know, we're essentially monkeys. We're spiritual monkeys, people. And monkeys groom each other. And who's calling me? Someone's calling my home phone. What a novel idea. Go away. Don't ever call me here again. How was that? I don't even know who that was. So, yeah, I didn't want to open up, but, you know, we need strokes, you know, there have been positive psychology tests when you share your heart and someone is empathetic, nodding, hearing you, giving you a stroke, and a touch, acknowledging you, it can be incredibly healing. The whole nervous system soothes. So maybe we can all do that for each other. We're all a bunch of spiritual monkeys here at Hey Human. Maybe it should be called Hey Spiritual Monkey. I'm gonna be on tomorrow at noon every day during this quarantine at noon, Monday through Friday. Please tell your friends. I'll pick a random viewer, completely at random, and have a nice chat with them. And this is all about loving each other, staying connected, using these horrible devices that we're on all day long in positive ways. Make sure you get some fresh air and acknowledge your fears, let your fears go. It's been a real pleasure talking to you all today. And that's it. All for me. See you tomorrow.